In today's slanted lens lesson, we're going to change sunlight into moonlight. We've kind of done a little kind of pseudo 1920s setup here with Anai. We have her in her hat and her outfit. In the background we have the window. Let's take a look at how we change our sunlight into moonlight. This is what the window light looks like when the color balance is set at daylight, or about 5500 degrees. I think the scene is going to look a lot more interesting if we make the light coming through the windows look like nighttime rather than day. So we're going to move our color balance on the camera from daylight, which is 5500 degrees, to tungsten, which is 3200 degrees. This becomes the first light, basically. The light coming through the window, or the sunlight, is the first light in our lighting buildup. Now we're going to need to light our talent. The first light we'll set will be a rim light on camera right. I'm going to pan this slightly away from the background, allowing just the right amount of light to fall on the man and the window to give us some detail, but not to overpower the silhouette that we'd like to see there. Our strobe light is balanced to 6000 degrees, so we have to put a full CTO or orange gel on the strobes. This will balance them or bring them back to 3200 degrees and match the tungsten light setting. We're now going to set the key light on her face. I'm going to do this from down low. I want something kind of interesting so it feels more like the speakeasy feeling of the 20s. So a low light kind of glowing up on her face seemed to work really nicely. This will also be panned away from the background so that we keep the light on her face and not on our man in the background. Don't want to destroy that silhouette back there. Our camera settings for this shot were f9 at 1/60th of a second and 160 ISO. Here's a few of the shots that we took that day on set. You know, just if you're interested, this is what the shot would have looked like if we had shot at 5500 degrees or daylight. If I want to use the same technique when I'm shooting video, it's pretty easy. I have my camera set at 3200 degrees, which balances with tungsten lights. So when I turn on my tungsten light here, it's already balanced at 3200 degrees. The sunlight coming through the windows is balanced at 5500 degrees. That makes it very blue in the background. So it's very easy. I simply set my tungsten lights, turn them on, balance them to the tungsten lights, let the background go blue. Now let's take a look at a variation we did on this shot. When she looks in the mirror and can see the softbox, that becomes her light source. In the background, just let that fall off to shadow pretty much. Here's some of the shots that were taken that day using only two lights, the sunlight in the background and a rim light camera right that's reflected back in her face with the mirror. Let's take a look at the post process. I really wanted this image to be a little more gritty, a little more grainy, so I went to Nik Software Color Effects Pro 4 to do some work on it. In Nik Color Effects, I used a recipe called Super Cross Pop. I didn't use it just as is. I went in and adjusted several things. I opened up the shadows. I did some work on different layers to make sure that they weren't quite as dark. But then in the end, I felt like it was just a little too heavy on her face. I then went and removed about 60% of the effect on her face. Then I dialed the entire effect back 20%. This will be my final image. It's not that difficult to change sunlight into moonlight or blue light if you understand this technique. So just get out there, keep that video rolling, and keep those cameras clicking.